This is Marrakech, Morocco, one of the 4 imperial cities of Morocco, and home to hundreds of souks, red walls, and the winding maze of the old city called the Medina. Almost every city in Morocco has its own Medina. In Arabic, it translates to just city, but in Morocco, it's used for the oldest part of the city going back to the Middle Ages. Now, it's been kind of difficult filming on this trip. I'm not actually in Marrakech right now. I'm actually in Chefchaouen. Marrakech was the first stop of this trip. I'm traveling here in Morocco with my dad as well. We also visited Fez, and also we'll stop in Tangier as well as Chefchaouen, which is where I'm at right now. But Marrakech, it's unlike any city I've ever experienced or photographed. That has also led to a lot of learning experiences, both just navigating the city, but how to approach street photography here. When you first get to Marrakech, there's so much sensory overload. I try to sort of display that sense of intensity, I guess, in the opening intro, but I don't think it really does it any justice. You know, there's just so much happening on the streets, you don't really know what to do or where to start. So you kind of just have to take it all in at first and do what you've always done and, you know, make sense of everything happening around you through photography. And try not to get run over. You have this line of the shapes, and then there's the patch in the top. Someone can walk right there.
Okay.
Souk means market in Arabic, and here in the Medina of Marrakech, there's a maze of them. I actually found these areas to be the most difficult to photograph. Not a lot of store owners want their shops to be photographed, so it's difficult to, stop and frame up a shot without having a bunch of people looking at you. Even using my Ricoh GR, I still felt like I stuck out. So you can only imagine, trying to compose shots with a longer focal length. There's a rooster nearby, so I don't know how well this audio is going to sound, but whatever. A lot of times while in the souks, I just kind of resorted to shooting from the hip using my Ricoh and constantly acting like I wasn't taking photos. So yeah, I don't like shooting like that because I can't really see what I'm photographing. I'm kind of just guessing more than half the time. What I ended up finding was that the outskirts of the Medina, outside of the busy souks, that was a lot easier to photograph, and I also found it to be a lot more photogenic as well. Here I found I could take more time to really shoot in my style, be a bit more patient with the shot, and as a result, create something I was happier with. When I was in these areas, I saw a lot less tourists, so I'm not sure a lot of tourists go to these parts of Marrakech, or this part of the Medina. From what I noticed, a lot of people kind of stick around in the souks and near the main square, or inside the riads. So maybe my photos can show, a side of Marrakech that not a lot of tourists see when they come here. So while I've been here in Marrakech, I've been editing all of my photos with Capture One Pro 23. To me, editing is really all about supplementation. If I can get my composition and my exposure as best as I can in camera first, then when it comes to my editing, it's really all about accentuating some aspects of the photo that I really like. Whether it's increasing the contrast of a scene to a scene that already has contrast, or increasing the saturation of some prominent colors in a scene to really bring them out. What I love about editing in Capture One is I can create layers for all of my edits on an image. So rather than compounding all of my edits onto a single image, I can organize and define where edits are happening and just have a better sense of what I am doing to the image through layers. And as a Fujifilm user, I've found Fujifilm RAW files to work the best on Capture One. While here I've been taking a lot of images with the X-T5, and I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything the camera is capturing in terms of detail, shadow, and highlight information. So if you're interested in checking out Capture One 23 for yourself, you can use the link in the description. It'll give you 20% off your first annual subscription of Capture One 23. A big thank you again to Capture One for sponsoring today's video. I think the biggest lesson I learned on this trip in terms of my photography is just having a better understanding of people's sensitivity to photography, especially, from being a tourist coming into someone else's city. It's easy for a foreigner to come here, on vacation and expecting to just be able to do whatever you're used to doing, approach photography as you normally would in New York City or wherever, and just assume that the rest of the world is going to accept the way you do things. That's not how the world works, and I think that's one of the best lessons you can get from traveling and experiencing new cultures. You learn to adapt to everyday life, but also your photography if you're a photographer. So this trip has certainly put everything I know about street photography to the test, but I'm here for it.